not here to complain about Jason himself, I'm complaining about his perks. The character himself was done perfectly. I love playing Jason. This is awesome. He's incredibly enjoyable. My main problem is his perks are so, comparatively at least, underwhelming. Specifically on him. It's not even just that they're, in general, a bad perk, but on him in particular, they just feel like they don't need to exist. Hex Scared to Death is almost a good perk. It's really close. You hook 3 people. If you break a pallet during a chase, survivors in 13 meters will scream and be hindered. Now the problem is the activation on it kind of makes the rest of it unimportant. Because you have to get 3 hooks before your perk activates and it can be turned off, and to be honest, it's not even that big of a deal. Like, it's only a 3-second hinder. Now granted, it's a very large hinder. It is a 13% hinder. The problem is it doesn't go on long enough for it to have much meaning. If they made it a bit longer, it might be a bit more worth it, but they would have to tone down how much it actually hinders. Or if it didn't have an activation, it would be a lot better, but the problem is it kind of needs to be a hex, because otherwise it's conceptually just a broken ability. Now the main thing here, if you read the fine print, it says basic breaking a pallet. Now the problem with that is that a lot of killers don't do that, and the ones that do don't really have room in this for their kit. I don't think I'm ever going to see a trapper running this. It's not that a lot of killers don't have a basic break, obviously they do, every killer does. The problem is a lot of killers don't really do that. Bubba's are never going to do that. Jasons tend to not break pallets as frequently. If a Jason breaks a pallet, it's generally speaking, at least personally in my anecdotal experience, it's usually based on their ability. Now, you're going to notice that's a common theme here. A lot of his perks involve basic breaks, which are not, again, not unused by him. The problem is he doesn't use them as much as he uses a special break. Conceptually, a lot of his perks are actually extraordinarily interesting. I just don't understand why they're bound to a basic break. The basic break is really what does it for me. At least, personally, I couldn't imagine using this on any killers that use basic breaks. If I was allowed to use the pallet hindering one on Bubba, it would be absolutely stellar. The problem is, it's a basic break. Especially when you compare it to Knockdown, which is Bubba's perk, which slows people by, I believe, 5% haste when they walk away from a pallet they drop. So you don't even have to do so much as break the pallet, you just have to make them leave it. Automatically, it just seems like a much more worth it perk, especially since there's no activation, so you don't have to go get 3 hooks, it's out the gates on. And I just do not see the appeal of a 3-second hinder when I have to take, 4 seconds of chase or whatever to go do a basic break. His next perk is Rampage. Rampage is whenever you break a pallet or while you gain a token up to 13, whenever you blinded a pallet stun, you gain 1% haste per token. Now, again, the thing is it has to be a basic break. And again, I don't know how many people actually basic break on Jason unless it's a god pallet or something. It's not like a killer's perks have to be tailored to them specifically. I think that it's preferably that they do because it thematically would work better. But another thing about this one is that how many pallets are on a map? By the time you have essentially the maximum value you're going to get out of this perk, how many pallets are left, and have the survivors caught on to the fact that you have it yet? They could just be a playstyle thing. If you have successfully been using these perks and you successfully basic break a lot on Jason, tell me. But personally, and from what I've seen, it's not really worth it to basic break on him. He's more of a hit and run style killer. The only perk that he has that I would actually constitute as worth something is his last one, Silent Shadow. Now the problem with it is that it's so short. When you hook a survivor, you get undetectable for 13 seconds. When the exit gates are powered, you get undetectable for the rest of the trial. Now, the endgame part is really, really fun. The problem is, once they know you have it, it doesn't do as much on a lot of maps. If you're on an indoor map like Laboratory, it'll work really, really well. But if you're on a more open map like, I don't know, Dead Sands, then it won't do as much is the problem. Personally, I find his perks extraordinarily underwhelming, and I don't think I'll actually be using any of them, especially with, God forbid, this horrible change of diminishing returns. It's a terrible decision to add. There's no reason to use haste builds or most haste perks, let alone one that only gives you haste for 3 seconds. That's just my thoughts on it. If you have a different opinion, do tell, because I do want to hear what other people have to say about it. Can't really find much discussion on it, but yeah. Thank you for watching, and be sure to go fuck yourself.